This is all a bit of a blur. They were all very strange. They're all different. The way they're all quite distinctive this year. It's quite. Firstly, the Liberals in government. That was seriously weird. Liberal Ring of Steel makes no sense at all to me. Because the delightful thing about the Liberals is always there was no Ring of Steel, but this year, Ring of Security and everything, and being sort of searched and. Which is fine once you get over it. It was in Liverpool, which is quite a good place to be. Strangely, sort of becalmed city, but it felt very much like the depressions hitting early in Liverpool. It had a very sort of moribund sense of all these shops which were open, but no customers in the area. And the Liberals were sort of hollow. The first sketch I did actually was of the Liberal Hall of Fun. It's just a straight drawing of the hall. But you went in the hall, you were struck by the emptiness, great vast cavernous area, all black draped off to hide the lack of numbers, basically, with blue screens. Of course, very blue. That's very Tory, with a few splashes of yellow. So again, that's weird. There's Nick, looking very arch casual in his open neck shirt. Trying to think of something that stood out. That's a sort of a typical Liberal delegate there. That's he's white-haired, with beard, bright yellow thing around his neck, and a sort of checky shirt, and a strange-looking young man. I don't know, he was another Liberal. Lib Dems have a sort of soapy expression, most of them. It's peculiar. It's very enjoyable for me because normally I'm drawing in order to hit a deadline, and so drawing from life, as it were, is something I sort of don't do unless I make a special thing of it. And the great thing about coming to conferences is I can sit there and they're all there and they sit still for me and I can just sit there in the shadows and draw them. Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness. This is a Lib Dem fringe. This was a Guardian fringe. It's Andrew Adonis. It's wonderful to draw. He just looks like a cadaver, you know. That's Jon Snow interview. I just happened to be on a balcony. There was in front of me, Jon Snow interviewing Vince. That's a side view of Vince. That's Nick's speech. Nick was looking very pink. You see, I was just on a faded pink shot there of a shot. As I say, it's a drawing, it's not a shot. It's all very calculated. Yellow tie leaping out at you, yes. There were emphasis on the yellow. Funny sort of little explosion at the top of his head, little duck's arse. This is Mr. Bollocks himself, Philip Blonde. Weird looking, a man who spouts complete and utter bullshit on everything. It's the higher bullshit. He's the brains behind the big society. So I've actually done this week's strip on him, which is probably paying him too much attention, but he's an interesting looking character, but actually a complete chancer and a complete showman. And the big society is, as I think we're coming to realise, a complete parcel of nonsense. Vince is always good. It's an interesting looking face. He's like, it's funny. And he wobbles his head, rather like Ming used to. Anyway, it makes me laugh. Moving to Labour now in Manchester. That's Ed. Now Ed is a sort of gift because of these eyes, these staring at this. That's Ed I think while his brother was loping around in front, giving this very relaxed, actually quite accomplished speech for him. There was Ed in the background, looking. Alistair? Oh, this was a pure Blair moment in Ed Miliband's speech. Strangely enough, though he's not apparently Blairite, there were definitely Blairite aspects to his manner, his stage manner, his podium manner. Very steady, very simple, and very serious look a lot of the time. He does look serious. And he came up with this wonderful phrase, which is pure Blair bollocks. If we are not this party, nobody will be. Now, what does that mean? If we are not this party, nobody will be. It's nonsense, but maybe there's a sense in there somewhere. On to the Tories this week. Here we are in Brum. Started off. Walked into the hall. Who was up there? Was Two Brains, David Willits. He's got a strange shaped head. Not a very good likeness. Then on comes Boris. Boris is always a sort of, he's a crowd pleaser, a set piece. Something struck me about Boris this time, is that with Boris, his body doesn't move a lot, It's his face, all the activities in his face. He's got this massive face, big features, big cheeks, big mouth, big jaw. And of course, the Boris hair sort of spraying out in all directions. This is George with his restrained body language. That's Dave in the crowd, sort of hunting for Dave in all the Tory heads. He was actually quite hard to find. Nobody knew he was there. I couldn't find him until. This is Michael Gove, the most pathetic hand clap I've ever seen in my life. That was soapy smart. But he's wonderful to watch because every time you look at him, it's a different expression. And then he's a very serious expression. He strode forward to the stage, stood in the middle of the stage, looking serious and firm and determined, but actually looking like a complete prat. Then it was Clark, Clark's quite interesting. He's got a great big face and his bulging, massive, angry face and great blue eyes staring out of this red mass of a face. Of course, Theresa May, she's good to draw. She's a wonder. She's got this amazing mop of hair, sort of steely grey hair. And she has got fabulous bags. She has wonderful bags. She's got a wonderful nose, a very sculptured nose. Very pronounced red lips, and she wears these dresses which show a great deal of her neck. Now last year she was wearing a dress that was like a cannon's mouth, so it looked like her head was poking out of a cannon's mouth. Fortunately she's got rid of that one, now she's got a sort of, but it's just more sort of ripped back. And then it was IDS. Now IDS is spent many happy hours, well I won't say happy, it's miserable. But he is very distinctive, IDS. He has this strange round, bald head. And he has a sort of ethereal way about him. He's got these peculiar eyebrows which seem to have a law of themselves, perched up way above his eyes. And then I went to an exhibition of Japanese prints, which is in the Icon, just across the way. And fabulous, wonderful 18th century Japanese prints. Some of mother and baby, and the babies all look like IDS because they have these eyebrows. And IDS actually is 1/8 Japanese, so it's got this slightly otherworldly look about it. Anyway, but they loved him, they loved IDS. He said, Labour may call it welfare, but I call it unfair. I mean, what does that mean? It's total drivel, but they loved it.